واغسلهم وغسلهم الاخرى واغسلهم بالماء والسلطه. الله اكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Now, our Imam Allama Jalaluddin Al-Qadri, Allama Jalaluddin Shahid.
My name is Abdul Samad. I am 27 years old. Especially I know Imam and his friend who died Saturday. So I know him. He was a good person, and he is our Imam. He is not only for our Imam, he is also our community leader. So I believe it was the hate crime, and also our community believe it was a hate crime.
What do you want to see happen? What do you want to see the NYPD do?
So NYPD do very good job, and what he doing everything is well. We are support also NYPD. Thank you.
Thank you.
To give opportunity to all people everywhere in the nation to contribute to the families of the victim. The Majlis will hold an urgent meeting for the Imams Wednesday the 17th. We will have another press conference tomorrow morning at about 10 o'clock in front of Masjid al-Furqan, the place where the Imam was working. So at last, we ask the authorities to perform a thorough investigation and bring the perpetrator to justice, and we ask and we support the request of the families that this case should be treated as a possible hate crime. We encourage our community in general and the youth in particular to maintain their being a good model and positive example in reaction to different challenges, and model in letting the investigation and the law takes its course. Our prayer for the families and for everyone else. Before I conclude, there are few members of the elected officials that need to be acknowledged in here.
Viverito, Congressmember Gregory Meeks, Congressmember Hakeem Jeffries, Representative of Congressmember Nydia Velasquez, Senator Roxanne Prasad, Assemblymember Eric Delan, Assemblymember David Weprin, Councilmember Eric Ulrich, Assemblywoman Latrice Walker. Those are the individuals. If I missed any, I apologize. Thank you.
উপস্থিতি সম্মানিত উপস্থিতি, আমরা জানাজান নামাজের জন্য এখন লাইন আপ হব। মাঠের ওই পাশে from the right side we'll bring the bodies. You can move forward down to this side and line up for the final prayer.
Imam Bilal, what do you think about today's program, today's community and elected officials coming out today to show their support for the assassinated imams in Queens?
Well, I think it's good to come out to show support for the community, and that we have to come together as community, politicians, and all those religious leaders come together to get all these hate crimes, other crimes taking place in the community. So we got to come together as one community.
Come together as one community.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. And what do you think, brother?
I think it was excellent that the elected officials came out in a large community what we have to realize is that this is not a Muslim or Islamic crime. This is a crime against all humanity. All communities of all colors, ethnicity got to come together, and we got to change the condition of what's going on in the environment. And when elected officials is gearing up this type of negative, hatred environment, we all got to speak out. But that could have been any one of us, white, black, Jew, Gentile, any one of them that could have happened to.
Hello, my name is Sakib Islam, and Donald Trump wants to kick us all Muslims out of the United States of America. We don't want that. What did we ever do to Donald Trump? We didn't do anything. He says that he wants to kick all the Muslims out of the United States of America. Well, I don't like that. Cause I don't like that. That's just not fair. He's being racist to everybody. But then all the rich kind of people are gonna vote for him. I vote for Hillary because she could be the first ever lady president.
Wow. Well, we just wish that you was maybe 20 years old, but we know that today is your birthday and you are a great big 12. So we want to say happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sakib Islam, and Islam means peace and humanity. It's nothing bad.
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
And can I also say one more thing?
Thank you. Yes, sir. What would you like to say?
Sakib Islam just said what Islam means, right? He's my blood cousin. My name is Islam too. His name is Islam. Islam means to be peace upon everyone. It doesn't matter if you're Christian. It doesn't matter if you're any religion.
Say the saying again, please.
Islam means to be peace upon everyone in this world. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, or Hindu, or anything else. The only thing you need to know is God is watching what you're doing.
Why does Donald Trump have to chase after Muslims?
You can't be saying that Muslims are terrorists and things.
You're talking about Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and something else, like you, as you know, the guy shot the two imams, right? So that's just a hate crime. Why does he hate Muslims? The guy, he can. It's just like it's negativity it's becoming a hate to Muslims, that every those people who are voting for Trump, they're killing us Muslims and other race, black race, and other religions. The only thing that I want to say is just Trump, stop your stupidity.
So what are you saying? You're saying that Trump stop the hate?
Yeah.
There you have it. And how old are you again?
I'm 10.
You're 10 years old. And tell our viewers around the world your name again.
Me, my name is Mazhar Islam, and I'm the nephew of Cairo Islam.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. We wish you continued success. You are an educated, great man.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're watching Community, Youth, and You at GuardianChronicle.com with your host, Ralph E. Smith. Stay tuned for our special interview with Imam Umar Jalil, chaplain for the New York City Correction Guardians Association and the New York City Grand Council of Guardians and the CCA, the Captains Correction Association. Don't change that dial. Keep it locked in at the place where nobody does it better. We have a message in the music, and there's a message in the program. Welcome back to GuardianChronicle.com, Community, Youth, and You. My name is Ralph E. Smith, and I am your host for this exciting second part, our interview with Imam Umar Jalil, chaplain for the Correction Guardians Association, the Grand Council of Guardians, and the Correction Captains Association. We're going to deal with the issues that happening in the United States of America with the United States presidential campaign, all the hatred that's being spewed about America. You know how we're going to deal with hatred? We're going to deal with hatred with soul power. Come on, Donald Trump, put your hands up in the air. The community of color, the community of regular people, the community of hardworking people, we have a message for you. Our vote is not for sale. You're going down, Donald Trump. It's real. The community speaking out. Youth are speaking out. Stay tuned in to this part of Community Youth and You. Don't change that dial.
Defensive retreat. Most of all, it was used from the center of the ring on a title fight with Cleveland Williams. It confuses the man for second, and it'll confuse him if he catches me in the corner. And this is the way it goes. See, like if I'm jumping around the ring, this is my position, and that shuffle is just a flash for just a minute, and in that split second, then lights out.
Here with Imam, Umar, Jalil, Chaplain of the Correction Guardians Association, the Grand Council of Guardians, and the CCA. That's the Captain's Correction Association. I want to start with that wonderful, outstanding memorial service that you had, not for your wife, but for God's handmaiden. That's right, that's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
And I got that concept of God's handmaiden, because all too often when we are involved in relationships, marriage, relationships, and we tend to forget that your partner is a loan to you from God. Mm-hmm. She doesn't belong to you. She belongs to God. Mm-hmm. And you have to treat her accordingly. She have to treat him accordingly. Because this is a partnership beginning with Adam and Eve to allow you to fulfill the purpose of life in this world and to fulfill the requirements of getting eternal blessings in the next life.
Now, at the memorial service, it's very interesting that you said that your wife really doesn't belong to you. Yes. Because actually, your wife belonged to the community and all the people that she helped.
Absolutely.
From the fish to the training, I mean,
yes.
To everything. I mean,
you know, even when she when she first passed, we had the funeral services. Mm-hmm. The amount of correction officers, law enforcement personnel, mm-hmm. that all union people from DC 37 came out, and they all knew her. You know what I mean? Wow. And we had something, we could count on her. You know what I mean, to provide a meal that they could talk about.
Wow.
And that's even not just that, but even the people who in the churches, people who were in the Jewish community, people who was not in part of any community. She've always had a healthy smile for them. She've always has some sound advice, as you noted that at some of the comments at the memorial service. Mm-hmm. And when people came by, when she could even barely lift her head, she still was ministering to their spirit, trying to give them advice to help them through their situations.
That's so powerful that your wife was ministering to them, to people that came to her sick room.
Absolutely.
To visit her.
Yes.
They should be they should be yes. ministering to her, but she was empowering them.
Absolutely. Empowered, because she had, and you can do that when you accept the reality that at the end of the day, God is the final signatory. So no matter, so you're not concerned with where you're at. You want to make sure that you have, how would I say, that you've stored up in God's bank account. You want to have a bank account in God's bank. So when you in the African language, it's called yakin.
Yakin.
So you have certainty
about
the fact that God is the life giver, what we call death is nothing but a transition to return to the life giver.
To return to the life giver.
To the life giver, because that which God gives life to never die. Because all of us, all human beings, no matter what social status, economic status, has been endowed with the breath of God in them, that light of God in them. And therefore, so if you accept that reality, then you don't fear leaving here. Because you know, it doesn't mean that you want to rush to leave here.
Right.
But you have accepted the reality that you mean that the blessings of God that's in store for those who try to live right. I didn't call them Jewish, Christian, Muslim, anything. You mean to be the best human being, because it is the best human being that will stand in the kingdom of God, not religiosity.
Not religion.
People espousing religious slogans and trying to keep people out of heaven when they can't even get themselves into heaven. And that's the reality.
Now, what's the saying that from God we come from and from God we return?
Yes, we say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surely from Almighty God we come, and to Almighty God we return. But you know what? We think of that in the flesh form, but everything that we own returns to God.
Okay.
Everything, including our wealth. Because God said, I give you everything for you to succeed in life, and then I, meaning God alone, become the inheritor. You don't see nobody, you don't see no Brinks truck going to the cemetery. Where's that wealth going?
Right.
You say, okay, I might will it, but eventually it all goes back to God.
Right.
All of your talents, all of your thoughts, everything goes back to God.
So with that being said, it's a sin, or you tell me what your thoughts are. God gives us talent and God gives us wealth. That's not just to keep it to yourself. That's really to help others.
And in fact, no, God said that those who hoard their talents that they have for their own self, for their family, for their community, God says that becomes nothing but fuel for the fire in their necks and their hellfire. But we're supposed to share those talents for the upliftment of the community, of the society, of the country, of the world.
Of the world, right.
Because we are citizens in reality of the world.
Of the world.
You mean we create borders and barriers with each other. You mean whether it be racial barriers, economic barriers, political barriers, gender barriers. All of those things are just barriers that we put up to deny the fact that we are all the sons and daughters of God.
Right.
And God would question you as to how did you treat his creation. Because God has no need for anyone whose neighbor is not safe from their abusive language, their hands. God has no need of you.
Right.
You see, and this is the problem that we witness today with all the demagoguery, with all of the madness that we see go on. And everybody, like I tell people, even those, and I'm a Muslim in the Islamic faith, I said everybody get a turn at the bat.
Right.
Whether it be around gender lines, racial lines, religious lines, everybody get a turn. Why? Because there is a sickness in the human being that we have to have an enemy or to create an enemy to make ourselves feel something that we can never be.
You know, today there was a press conference for the two imams that were assassinated. And that's the only word that you can use when you walk up behind somebody and shoot them behind the head. And the feeling of not just the community in New York City, but really actually the community around the United States is that hatred that's been espoused by Donald Trump has caused Muslims to be hated. I mean, and so the bottom line is that taking a look at the politics of America right now, what do you think about this?
I think that this hatred, this visceral hatred, is bigger than Donald Trump.
Okay.
And while I'm always amazed when people are using these vicious attacks on someone's religion. Because the reality, let us be clear on this point. Anytime you preference the behavior of a criminal, the prefix becomes someone's religion, then you're not attacking that person, you're attacking the religion. Let us be clear on that point. You see, when you associate criminals with a religion, and you are really attacking the religion, and you are planting a seed in the minds of the people, that it's not the people that's committed, but it is the religion that is creating that. And that's what this whole term Islamic terrorism. Which is oxymoron. First of all, people don't even know what terrorism is.
Right.
I mean, the only people that know what terrorism is, and let me be clear, let me take it out of the religiosity aspect, is black men and women in America. We know what true terrorism is. Why? Because we lived it. And we continue to live it, because poverty is a continuation of the terrorism that has been perpetuated for 500 years on men and women. I would say black people. I'm not politically correct. So I ain't gonna say brown people and all that other stuff. Let's be clear. We're talking about black men, and we're talking black men, and we're talking about black women. This is what we are talking about here. So when you, but however, nevertheless, when you preface somebody's religion to associate them with violence, barbarity, then you are misleading what's going on. First of all, you are politically immature, and you have an infantile disorder, which makes you incapable of being the leader of a country that men and women of all races, all ethnicity died to keep going, and you are espousing that type of a rhetoric.
Espousing that rhetoric.
Yes.
I mean, last week.
And you know, and I have to say, and the reason, and that's on both parties' side. Okay. So let us be clear on this. You know what I mean? Let us be clear. The Dixiecrats ain't no different than the Republicans. Right. Why?
Right.
Why do I say that? Because when President Barack Hussein Obama was elected, a standing party can come out the next day and say that their only purpose in life was to see that this man fail. You wasn't attacking him, you were attacking the American people.
That party that you're talking about is the Republican?
When he said that.
The Republican Party?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what they said. And let us be clear on this. Don't leave the Democrats out. Why? Because the Democrats under Harry Reid in them was also in the majority in the Senate. And I remember clearly, and I quote, when President Barack Obama was trying to get past the agenda, Harry Reid, who was then in charge of the Senate, said, I don't work for President Obama. No, you're supposed to be working for the American people. So if the president is presenting an agenda for the American people, and they are not the American, it always amazes me when I hear some politicians get on a newscast and say, well, this is what the American people want. You're not the American people, and you are clueless about what the American people want. Because the American people, in reality, want to be able to live above poverty. They want to make sure that their children are safe. They want to make sure that the criminal justice system does not criminalize black men and women, or economically impoverish white people.
Right.
They want the same. All human beings have the same aspiration. And what are those aspirations? To be able to live in peace. Not in a world that's been really created, bar none, by the politicians in Washington, D.C., who have brought upon this danger, not only for us as American citizens, but danger for citizens around the world because of their policies. Let me put it this way. All politicians work for the pharmaceutical and the petroleum company. Let us be clear.
Right.
Because all wars is fought basically over two things, and on behest of two things: the pharmaceutical companies and the petroleum companies. That's a fact. Let's look at it.
Right.
Who's going to control the resources? You ain't talking about the American people. You're talking about this 1%ers. This 1%ers that you. And in other words, it's like you only get rights based upon your ability to pay the lobbyists. It's just like you only get justice if you have the ability to pay for it.
Well, let's talk about
criminal justice.
Let's talk about the criminal justice system, and let's talk about Barack Obama. When you hear so many people saying, well, you know, he didn't do this and he didn't do that, and especially when you hear some black people saying that, I have a total different outlook.
Yeah.
I feel that he's done a lot, and let me just tell you why.
Okay.
Have you ever tried to walk up a hill in the winter after somebody's put ice on it, or after somebody's poured water on it, and that hill's turned into ice?
Let me give you a better
For 8 years.
No, let me give you a better.
For 8 years, he's had to battle an uphill battle when the Republicans on day one said they're not going to support him on anything.
Let me put it this way. President Obama was a bright light in the midst of darkness. And he epitomized to me the salmon swimming upstream to give life.
Okay, all right.
That's what he epitomized to me.
Yes.
So first of all, President Obama was not Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Okay? He was a bright light in a dark room saying, this is how we can get out of the mess that I inherited. And just like it's like in the economics in the black community. Our mothers and fathers had the ability to stretch a nickel that even a dollar couldn't fit into, just for survival.
Right.
You have to give the president and all of those politicians of goodwill.
Right.
Of goodwill. You have to give them credit. You have to give them credit. And you have to give this man credit. As the reality of the matter is, I heard some idiot say recently that the president created ISIS. But I have yet to heard one white media mentality ever ask the rhetorical question, well, actually, it was the Republican and the Democratic Party that created ISIS. Why? Why is that? We forget that President Obama voted against the invasion of Iraq. ISIS is nothing but the offshoot of the invasion of all those who voted to go into Iraq to destabilize that whole region. They call it Al-Qaeda. Furthermore, even in the Muslim community, we didn't even know what the hell Al-Qaeda was until white people said. We're trying to figure out what group of Muslims is this.
Right.
They created that brand. They created that brand because of the fact that ISIS is Al-Qaeda. However you want to cut, whatever acronym them criminals use. Let us be clear on that.
Right.
And first of all, and we're talking about ISIS as if ISIS is an enemy of America. No, ISIS is an enemy of the Islamic religion. Let us be clear on that point. They are an enemy of the religion of Islam. They do not follow the Quran. They do not follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad. They are not within the fold of Islam.
Since they have nothing to do with Islam,
then why are we talking about Islamic terrorism?
Yes.
Why? Because you want to paint a picture of an enemy that you have created. You've created that enemy. Not the American people. And they even with the immigration foolishness. Let me tell you something. You can't build enough walls. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough people to man any border to keep people coming out running to this freedom.
Right.
They're running to America. They're talking about, I always hear people, they hate our way of life. You are the most ignorant, vile human being I've ever heard. Every human being I mean, 95% of all people trying to come to America, they come here because they love what America offers.
Well,
and you don't have enough borders to keep them out.
Trying to build walls and disrespecting the Pope, women, black people, white people, and every person that you can think of makes no sense. But if you and I, or any regular person were to say this, were to say to any, I want to say Russian power or threat to America, come hack.
We'd be under jail.
If you said that on your phone, you'd have the FBI.
We'd be under the jail. You know what I'm saying?
It's my pleasure to interview and speak with Imam Jalil, the chaplain for the Correction Guardians, chaplain for the Grand Council of Guardians, and a community leader. I want you to tune in every Sunday to Community Youth and You, because this man right here is walking history. And we're going to have other guests on, and I want to thank you very much for your time and for that great memorial service that you had for your wife.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being true to the cause. I can honestly say, not because you're sitting here, you've not forgotten where you came from, and you've not forgotten what your commitment is through the Guardians and all that you've been doing. And keep doing, don't listen to the naysayers, right?
Thank you.
Because Jesus had the naysayers too.
He sure did, he sure did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Donald Trump wants to kick us all Muslims out of the United States of America. We don't want that. What did we ever do to Donald Trump? We didn't do anything. He says that he wants to kick all the Muslims out of the United States of America. Well, I don't like that. Cause I don't like that. That's just not fair. He's being racist to everybody. But then all the rich kind of people are gonna vote for him. I vote for Hillary because she could be the first ever lady president.
And what do you think, brother?
I think it was excellent that the elected officials came out in a large community. But what we have to realize is that this is not a Muslim or Islamic crime. This is a crime against all humanity. All communities of all colors, ethnicity got to come together, and we got to change the condition of what's going on in the environment. And when elected officials is gearing up this type of negative hatred environment, we all got to speak out. But that could have been any one of us, white, black, Jew, Gentile, any one of us that could have happened to.
My name is Mazul Islam Ayan.
My name is Saqib Islam.
And this is Ralph Smith with TheGuardianChronicle.com. I'm here with two outstanding young men who are leaders in their community. They came out today to add their voice to the protests, to the demand for action. We want to salute these young men because they could have been doing anything. But this young man standing right here, you're 12?
Yes, I turned 12 today.
You turned 12 today, and you're 10.
Yes.
We're here with a 10-year-old young man, a 12-year-old young man, and there's a young man in the background. But the bottom line is this. We salute you young men for coming out here, including the young man that's not on the camera, because you were all 3 future leaders in the community. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you very much for listening to Community Youth and You at GuardianChronicle.com. My name is Ralph E. Smith, reporter and producer of Community Youth and You. We have a message for those that are holding on to hope, and we have a message for those that are spreading hate through this political campaign. That message is that we as a people shall continue to rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got gold mines at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And hate has no power over love. I rise. And then when I rise, we rise. Thank you very much for tuning in to GuardianChronicle.com.